This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
This is part 2 of the Warner Brothas Podcast. Part 1 started with WNBA, and we were like, you know what, let's just branch this into talking other sports because the sports world is plentiful right now. We even mentioned the NHL, which is crazy. We don't do that here. But this one, we're getting back to regular scheduled programming and getting into our Week 6 picks. You do not see Timmy here, but Timmy will be having his picks in for us so far. He is 44-34, I believe, on the season so far. You're 34-44, and I am 39-41, I think it is. Somewhere around there in the event. But you're last, I'm in the middle. Timmy's ahead right now, and Timmy's been on a little bit of a hot streak, but this year has been one of the weirdest years to call games in general. Against the spread, you see all the underdogs covering at an insane rate and then winning outright at an insane rate. But without further ado, London games. We've got Jacksonville heading to Chicago. Chicago heading to London in Jacksonville's area, but Chicago's technically the home team, and Chicago is favored by 1.5. Kyle, what do you think this game's going to look like?
So I think Jacksonville has an advantage in this game because they, at least last year, played 2 and will this year play 2.
That's kind of their home stadium. Like if any NFL team would have a home London stadium, it'd be Jacksonville.
In a way, and that's how their owner views it. So the fact that, look, the Jags have been disappointing this year to some, not to Tim, but to some they've been disappointing. To Jags fans, they've been disappointing. I think I picked them, this week 6? I think I picked them 4 out of the 5 weeks. And I'm going to pick them 5 out of the 6 weeks. You could argue I should be in a psych ward somewhere for that, but I do think they have an advantage over Chicago, especially being Caleb Williams being a rookie quarterback. I do think the Jags win 24-18. It's no point even guessing the scores with these London games because you just never know, but 24-18.
So If you put this on American soil, doesn't matter if it's home or on the road, I would actually be going with Chicago here. But I think that you have the added advantage of the whole entire time frame is different of being obviously overseas, the preparation, how you're ready for the games, and you have a young quarterback who's never probably been to the area, or if he has been, he hasn't obviously been getting ready for a football game, in Caleb Williams. The Jacksonville Jaguars pass defense can definitely be had, so there's an opportunity for him to have a good game, but I do agree with Kyle. I've got the Jags winning this 24-21, and it's specifically location based, because honestly, if this was on American soil, doesn't matter the field, I'd probably be going with Chicago right now.
The Bears I'm having a tough time with because they've got enough talent. Their defense hasn't allowed 21 points since December of last year. Right? So they got the defense. Caleb looks more comfortable, which you'd expect.
Yep.
But they haven't played the greatest of past defenses. Jacksonville, regardless of how dumb they can be, they do have a good and talented defense that can give you problems. So it should be a test for Caleb Williams. And again, the fact that it's in London, that should be advantage Jags. But the Bears are a team, I know they got the Pats in 2 weeks, I think. Is that true?
Yes. And that'll be the Pats coming off of London. Against the Jags.
And I could be wrong. I don't have the schedule right in front of me. But I think the Bears have a pretty favorable schedule between Jacksonville, which is a winnable game, next game, and then the Pats game. After that, it ramps up. And they got all their divisional games, which is going to be insane. That's going to be an insane.
We thought going into the year it'd be 4 tough divisional games and 2 that would be interesting. Now 6 extremely tough because
I thought they would all be tough. I really thought the Vikings, maybe if they didn't win a lot, that they'd still be tough.
I thought the Vikings would be a well-coached, you can't just roll over kind of team, but I did not think that they would be. I thought by that point in the season that Caleb would definitely be settled in and the Bears would just be a better team, but obviously divisional games are divisional games. Now they might go in as underdogs to 5 of the 6. Like, the only one, maybe 6 of 6, to be quite honest with you. They might be home favorites against the Vikings, depending on how they are. It depends if Vegas is caught up yet, because they probably won't be against the Packers, and they won't be against the Lions unless something happens injury-wise.
I could see them maybe against the Lions being home favorites, just because that game's in like December and it could actually be snow. That's the only way. And if the Bears would have to have a good record. If there's something like 6 wins at that point in the season, Detroit would probably be favored anyway. But Detroit would probably be a short favorite in that game.
Yeah, but there's a chance that they're going to be underdogs in all 6 divisional games, so it's going to be interesting to see with them.
It's a great part of the season. Yep. Month 2 is great.
Yeah, because teams are finally realizing what they have to be and what they kind of are. So you're getting into that second wave of, this is a true regular season now, and then you get into playoff mode here very soon. But next game, this one's going to be a fun one. You got Washington headed to Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 6.5. Kyle, what do you think about this one?
Battle of the DMV here. This is a game I'm very much looking forward to. I don't have a recollection of many fun Commanders-Ravens games, given their location. Like, they're right there, you know what I mean? And I can't, think of any fun games that they've had off the top of my head, even during that small RG3 era, or even the Kirk Cousins era. It's hard because the Ravens are a 6.5 point favorite, which has been getting crushed, but the Ravens have looked incredibly good. Ravens have looked, despite the record, I might take them at their peak right now over the Chiefs. Granted, the Ravens don't play good defense. Chiefs are more well-rounded. Chiefs are more tough right now, but Ravens' offense is tough to beat, aside from the Bengals, of course. But having trouble because, having said all that, the Commanders' offense looks great. Jaden Daniels looks 2 years ahead of schedule. So usually when you get 2 offenses like this that you think it's going to be a shootout, usually it's not. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
Yep.
So I'm really having trouble with this game. I want to say the Ravens, and we're going to go with the Ravens. We're going to go Ravens because you know what? Lamar's going to want something to prove against young Jaden. I'm going to say 31-23. Give me 8 point. They're actually going to cover. Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
All of me wants to go with the Commanders, but here's the thing. If the one team needs to get a stop, what team do I think that's going to be? I think it's the Ravens.
Switch my score, though, real quick. 31-20. We're going to go double digits for the Ravens.
Okay.
We're going to make a statement.
That's a good win. That's a good win against a good Washington team that's rolling right now. But I've got mine. It's going to be 30-26 Ravens. And I think that Jaden's going to play very well. You can throw on the Ravens. Terry McLaurin should have a big day. They've been getting a rapport. But Lamar is 21-1 against the NFC for a reason. But if there is a guy who can simulate what Lamar can do, it is Jaden. So you can kind of prep, how would we prep for Jaden? Kind of do the same thing with Lamar, and it's the closest similarity pretty much in the league to what you're going to get. No one's Lamar, but if you had to be close, Jaden would be your closest kind of. But Lamar's like that against the NFC for a reason.
21-1-1.
He's insane against the NFC. He doesn't lose.
You've come a long way from the Ravens are gone and Harbaugh's on the hot seat from.
Well, yeah, I thought that they were gonna lose to Cowboys, and then I thought they were gonna lose to the Bengals. I still had them losing to the Bengals, and they beat the Cowboys, and for divine intervention, they managed to beat the Bengals, and they beat the Bills too within that range too. So I didn't have them winning those games. They won all 3. So it is what it is. But next, we've got Tampa heading down to New Orleans. New Orleans is a 3.5 point underdog. What do you think about this one?
Weird game. No Derek Carr. Spencer Rattler is the starting quarterback for the Saints. I think they're going to give him a lot of freedom, though. He actually throws the ball downfield compared to most backups. This has a recipe for the Saints to win, just to fuck up everything for everybody. Everybody's going to be picking the Bucs tomorrow. I can't with good conscience pick against the Bucks. I really can't. I want to. I actually want to pick the Saints. Maybe I'll even bet the Saints to cover. Maybe I might do that, but I'm going to take the Bucks to win. If I'm going to keep the cover, what'd you say, 3.5? So I got to keep it a 3-point game. You would assume it's a little bit of a lower scoring game. Let's say 24-21.
So I'm in the same kind of vein as you because this really feels like a Tampa 30-20. You get a guy named Spencer Rattler who's like okay, and then you just think okay without Derek Carr, but then at the same time it's a division game in a place where they have a great crowd in New Orleans and just the randomness of the season and the quarterback. But I can't, as you said, I really can't pick against Tampa here. Like That'd be rude for me for picking against Tampa. Truly.
That's how I feel. I picked against them way too much.
I've got this one. I do have them covering, though.
Respect.
It's going to be 25-20. So it's going to be a close one. I think they do cover in the end. It's nothing that I would bet because I feel not confident on either side. But next, we've got Cleveland heading to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is 8.5-point favorites. Biggest spread of the week. Kyle, what do you think is going to happen?
This game's a shit show. It's truly a shit show. One thing I will say, even though it kind of seems like the sky's falling for Philly, they're at 2-2.
They set a bye last week.
They are healthier. I think they're gonna have Devontae and AJ back tomorrow.
AJ's for sure back.
AJ Brown.
And
I'm pretty sure Devontae. Yeah, because I think he practiced on Friday like a full participant.
Yeah.
And you'll have Saquon. This is a get right spot for him. The Browns defense is going to make it tough. It's in Philly. Deshaun is just playing awful, like historically awful. He's actually the worst QB through 5 games for the Cleveland Browns in, I think, 30 years, which says a lot because they've had a lot of nobodies.
Josh McCown, obviously, they've had some guys.
They've had some guys. Guys is the word.
Brady Quinn, I believe.
Yep.
Notre Dame.
Tim Couch, Deshaun Kaiser. If you want to, who was Brandon Weeden, 28-year-old rookie. They've had some
guys.
Nobodies. Yeah, guys. They've had guys. They've had football. They've had starting NFL quarterbacks.
They've had some Jags.
Right.
They've had some starting Jags.
Just a guy, exactly. So that being said, he's had his tackles out. Like he's had no time to throw. They don't have Chubb back. This definitely seems like a Zach Wilson situation where ownership or front office wants Deshaun to start, given his contract. Doesn't seem like it's Stefanski. That being said, I do wonder with Chubb, if they had their full offensive roster, tackles included, what would that look like? Would Deshaun at least look average? I would think so. But I think this is a get right spot for Philly. 30. Detroit. Cleveland can't even get to 20. They can't even get to 18. So I'm going to pick them right at 15. Let's go 28-15. I was going to go 30, but I ain't going to go 30 yet. I'm very interested to see how Philly turns their season around. Because there's so much talk about Sirianni losing his job and just the continued drama from last year. And we've seen such varying performances, whether it's, explosive on offense here and there, great defense against the Saints out of nowhere, and then you look like a leaky defense everywhere else. So I'm very interested to see what they do because that NFC East seems wide open, absolutely wide open.
There's no reason why this shouldn't be a cover for the Eagles. Big covers in theory. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. I don't think they're gonna cover though, but I do think they're gonna win. There's no reason it shouldn't be, but Jalen Hurts has been not great. He's been throwing the ball to the other team or giving the ball to the other team in one way or another every game, pretty much over the last calendar year. He just loves to give the ball to the other team right now. And it's just his favorite thing to do. But the thing is, the other quarterback...
At least once.
The other quarterback on the other side loves to do the same, so it's not going to cost them the game by any means. The best thing for them would be for Deshaun Watson, because I don't wish injury on anybody, but for Deshaun Watson to get the flu mid-game and for him to have to go out and them have to play Jameis. That would be the best thing for them. Their backup quarterback situation would be best. But I'm going to pick the Eagles. I'm going to go 20... I'm going to go 23-17. 17-16. In a game that we're going to come out with questions on both sides. I think we're going to look at the Eagles a little bit like a little bit to be desired there, but at the same time, maybe A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith comes back and Jalen Hurts becomes a quarterback again. We'll see.
I think Hurts is going to look better. I think they're gonna be okay. If they can get their defense to consistently play average and they focus on their offense kind of inside out, Saquon, and then, really ball control offense, how they got to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yep.
And, that'll open stuff up in the passing game. That'll get things open downfield for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They should be okay. They have the talent on both sides of the ball to be okay. But we just haven't seen it so far. But, hey, that first month is always crazy. Maybe it was a well-timed buy for them. And
no one's pulled away yet. Like, obviously, you have the Commanders who are playing very well, and then you have the Cowboys who are up and down at best. So no one's really pulled away. And then the Giants have been a sneaky team so far. Wow.
For sure.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm ready for Jameis. I think we at least get 3 more weeks of Deshaun Watson.
Jameson at this point. What's the purpose?
Yeah, and you would think that they get a win, if not here, within the next 2 weeks. Like they got to get something to turn the tide around a little bit. We'll see. I'm super interested in that game, even though Cleveland's offense looks like dog shit. So.
Yep. Next game I don't need to spend much time on for myself. We got the Colts and we've got the Tennessee Titans. Kyle, what do you think about this one?
I'm going to go with the Colts. I think it's in Tennessee.
Yes, it's in Tennessee. Tennessee is actually favored by 2.5.
I'm going to go with the Colts. They got Anthony Richardson starting. I think this is a better team with Joe Flacco starting.
It is.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, if there's ever a case for my theory of, sit your rookie, sit your young guy, it's Anthony Richardson, someone who's as raw as can be. You can't tell me playing behind Flacco, who, by the way, eventually would definitely get injured, however old he is. He would eventually get injured, and Anthony Richardson would end up taking over anyway.
They had Brissett last year, right? Was it?
They did, yes. They had Jacoby. They had...
it wasn't Brissett.
Gardner Minshew.
I was going to say it was...
Brissett was in Cleveland, I believe.
Yes, Brissett was in Cleveland last year.
Right? Or was he in the Commanders? He was in Cleveland at one point. I think they had Flacco last year. Mm-hmm. Flacco came in.
He wasn't in Cleveland because they had DTR, and then they had...
Where was Jacoby?
I can't even think of where Jacoby was last year.
He might have been on the Commanders. He's been all over.
Yeah, he has been. Journeyman guy who's a professional. We'll talk about him in about 2 minutes.
We will.
But, what did you have your score for the Colts? But I do agree that they're a better team with Flacco right now than Richardson, and I agree with you that just guys like that, there's difference when you have a Caleb or Jaden, C.J. Stroud. There are guys who can go in there and start. Trevor Lawrence, even. I know obviously he's been rocky, but he's a guy who could.
Commanders last year, by the way.
But he could. Okay, but he's a guy who can start day one. But there are projects like Anthony Richardson, like a little bit of a different kind of project, but Drake May, who again we're talking about here in 2 minutes. Those guys where you're fine with them sitting a little bit of time because you want them to really grow. See what the Packers did with Jordan Love. He came in a project, and now Jordan Love we think is a very good quarterback in the league.
So my score, interesting game because I think Tennessee has talent on their defense. I don't necessarily think they're a good defense, though. And Will Levis, you just never know. You literally never know. So this could be a kind of a breakout game for Anthony Richardson as far as this year goes. Let's go with... I really don't know. I'll give you a shootout here. Give me 34-23. Give you a high score.
Oh, jeez. So I think it's going to be on the opposite side. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Anthony Richardson's probably going to give you... Anthony Richardson is going to give you a chance to get probably 2. Will Levis will guarantee and give you 1. He'll want to give you 3.
He's going to try to give you 4.
But he will give you 1. And I think it's going to be a 20-16 Colts win. I don't think this
That's probably more realistic.
I don't think this... I think yours is more fun. We're each 5 for 5 on the same team so far, which is a little boring. But, it's fine. We've got Houston heading to our New England Patriots. The start of Drake May. May our prayers be answered. Yeah, it was dope. But the Patriots are 6.5-point underdogs. Kyle, what are your thoughts on Drake May starting, and how do you feel about this game?
It's interesting that the line moved from 7.5 to 6.5, because we have no idea how good or not good Drake May is right now.
Yep.
The only thing we do know for sure that he's going to be able to do that Jacoby cannot is A, move around a little bit,
yep, and
B, throw the ball down the field. Mm-hmm. Don't know if he's going to complete the passes, but he'll at least throw the ball down the field, which Jacoby is not. This should give the defense some life. I think this is going to be a closer game, possibly. I mean, again, it's hard to say because we just don't know what Drake May. He should at least extend drives. He should at least get it to where we can at least score some field goals, right? Whether we get a touchdown, we'll see. I told you this the other day, I personally would have rather kept, because I don't think we're going to the playoffs anyway.
No.
If this is a move to where they think we can at least win some games and be in the playoff picture, then okay. If that's really the rationale here, then okay. Then I should believe that Drake May can go out and win games for us, in theory. But if this is just Jacoby's bad, we're not going anywhere, I think they should have kept him out the rest of the month and started him the first game in November.
I would have been fine with that.
There's people making a big stink about not starting him against Miami last week because that would have been an easier game than this one against the Texans. I don't think it matters at all who you start your career against. What you do in your career matters way more than who you start your career against to me. So, weird game. I'm going to go on the optimistic side because I am a Patriots fan. Best of luck to Drake May. The era is officially here.
Yep.
It's going to start. We're going to see one way or another. We're really going to find out this first season something. We're going to find out something, whether he has promise, whatever it is. So let's go. We'll keep it under 6.5, 25-20. But we're going to go Houston Texans. And I have a feeling we're going to go 6 for 6 here unless you're picking the Pats outright.
I actually might be. So, Gerard Mayo came out and said there's a rejuvenated energy in the locker room with Drake May. People are now sprinting in and out of huddles. People are ready and want to play for Drake May. So there's a different energy in the building. You've got, think about this year when Bryce Young came out and it went to just a veteran and Andy Dalton. That offense went from not scoring and being terrible to being amazing.
True.
And then, so you have the new energy. You have Drake May being able to actually extend the ball down the field. We don't have Ramondre, but Antonio Gibson maybe almost running a little bit better consistently because at least he's holding on to the football better. I know Ramondre can break some runs and break some tackles. They've got decent receivers, Polk, Demario Douglas. Obviously, Hunter Henry's had a good season. And then on the other side, you have Nico Collins, who is out on IR, so they're a different offense. But they do have Joe Mixon coming back, which definitely helps them, because without the run game, they have been a little bit different of a team than what they had. So all of this together is a spot to where the Patriots actually could pull off an upset win. I think they're going to get a surprise 27-24 victory over Houston. So
27 points.
I think that the New England offense is going to be good this week. And I think that people are going to go insane. And then I think it's where people are gonna come back down to earth. They're gonna go to London next week, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, against the Jags, this team." The Jags game next week will either be like is Drake May the real deal kind of guy, or like, guys, let's just calm down. It was a big win off of that. But I do think this is going to be a surprise game because the Texans, Bills last week, tough win. Packers next week, very tough game. Sandwich in, you have a trap game, Patriots. I think all of this reads.
Got all the makings.
All of this reads that the Patriots can pull this one out. Listen, if the Texans blow out the Patriots, it's not going to shock me. They're a very good team. I think they are one of the 3 best teams in the AFC. But everyone's going to lose at some point, and I think that this could be one of those trap games with the newfound energy with Drake May starting at quarterback.
I like the pick. I do, especially with the fact that they get the Packers next week. They should have at least gone into overtime last week. They got a gift and won that game last week. But they look completely different without Nico Collins. That was part of the reason why Buffalo could get back into that game. That was the first week, that first half last year. Yeah. Last week, the first half against the Bills.
Yeah.
That was probably the first time I really liked what I saw from the Texans. They were passing on early downs. They weren't so focused on the run, and they were very much in control of that.
Really much in control.
Really much. They were very much in control of that game, and then Buffalo fought back, and again they should have been an OT. We'll talk about that more once we get to Buffalo, but that's in theory. I mean, that is a trap game. They're going to Green Bay next week, or is that at home? It doesn't really matter, I guess.
I believe they're going to Green Bay.
And this is a home game for New England. They will try to run the ball with Mixon a lot more, and New England can at least stop the run. Mm-hmm. They can give you a little bit of problems there. So I like that pick.
I actually think that this is one I genuinely believe could happen, and then I think we're just going to have to come down to earth a little bit, because I feel like if, say, Drake May throws for like 250, 2 touchdowns, no picks, runs for 40 yards, people are going to be the Tom Brady, the Renaissance is back. And it's going to be like, it's a great win, little much. I'm going to be pumped, though. Listen, I say this now like we're going to have to calm down. The Patriots win tomorrow. I'm going to go insane. So it's going to be fine. But we spoke on the Packers. Arizona is heading to Green Bay. Green Bay favored by 5.5. What Arizona Cardinals team are we going to get is the question here. Kyle, what do you think?
We should get a shootout here. We absolutely should. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what the weather is going to be in Green Bay, but this is definitely home field advantage for them, given a West Coast team coming to the Central Time Zone. That's pretty weird.
Looks like it's going to be light rain all day. Looks like light rain. The wind's not too crazy. Actually, towards the end of the game, looks like the winds could be up to 15 plus mile an hour, so it could be a little bit difficult to kick in that.
Give me 25-17. Pack.
Green Bay. I think that Green Bay is going to be able to move the ball. Going to be a big Jaden Reed game. Going to be a big Jordan Love game. He looked in the second half of last week. Second half 2 weeks ago against the Vikings, he started to play well. And then last week was a very tough game against the Rams. I almost got my weeks mixed up. But last week was a tough one against the Rams, but they didn't end up making the plays they needed to. I think he starts to get back right here.
They should have ran away with that game.
Yeah, they should have ran away with that game.
He threw a hilarious, one of the worst pick sixes you'll ever see.
He threw a Will Levis.
Yeah, exactly. That was a Will Levis.
He threw one of those Will Levises.
I don't know why he threw that ball.
But I've got 27-20 Green Bay. But this is definitely a spot where they have the Texans next week, playing host to the Texans. This could be a game where they slip up just a hair. And from what could be a very high-scoring game to what could be a very low-scoring game, in the Chargers seeing the Broncos. Broncos are 3-point underdogs.
So I don't think the Chargers should be a 3-point favorite in Denver. Denver, no matter what team they have, has a true home field advantage. Mm-hmm. What I did not anticipate, I did say before the season, when you, Tim, and I were doing our preseason previews, that I thought Broncos were going to be competitive and better than people thought.
You did say that. We give you credit for that.
Did not think this. I did not think they would actually be winning games. I did not think they would actually be a threat for at least second in the division, maybe even a wild card spot at this point in the season.
Yeah.
I did think Bo Nix would be less turnover prone than the younger QBs, right? That's what I thought his advantage would be as an older QB. Again, did not expect this especially with the defense. Chargers are banged up. Chargers choose not to move the ball downfield. They're coming off a bye. They're becoming a little healthier. They do have a real defense. So you would assume this is going to be low scoring. I do wonder with that bye week, do they try to incorporate something to get something going downfield, open up that run game a little more for J.K. and Gus Edwards. And if Herbert can move around a little bit more, that just makes everything, all the much easier for the Chargers. I'm going to roll with the Chargers in this game. I'm scared of this game as someone who picked the Chargers for the playoffs, as someone who, again, was not expecting the Broncos to look this competent this early.
Nope. Not at all.
I'm going to go 20-13 Chargers.
I'm actually going 17-13 Chargers, and it specifically has to do with a great coach coming off a bye. typically go with those coaches in those spots, and they have a great coach coming off a bye.
You got 3 legitimate great coaches in that division.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and Andy Reid.
And then one that likes Instagram posts about their best players and getting them out of there. But, speaking of that team, we have Pittsburgh heading to the Raiders.
Another low-scoring game.
Pittsburgh heading to the Raiders. We're going to be in the battle of which one's going to be the lower-scoring game here. You got the Raiders starting Aiden O'Connell, and they are 3-point underdogs.
And this is in Vegas,
It's in
correct?
Vegas, yeah.
I don't think we know as of right now if Fields or Russell Wilson starting.
They said Russell, I believe, is going to be 2. I think it's Fields. Pretty positive it's going to be Fields.
This could be Fields' last game. We'll see how it goes. I think at some point we'll definitely see Russ. It's hard taking... Usually like taking Tomlin as an underdog rather than a favorite, but I really don't know what to make of this Raiders team. They've won games somehow. Minshew... He was on the bench picking his nose last week. That can't be good. Just that alone, even though he's not starting, just that alone is enough.
Shout out to Chris Berman for that. Shoo! And that's why he's picking his nose. But
Chris Berman.
Shout out.
Shit. So, I'm gonna go 22-13. Give them the same point as the Broncos. Same kind of game.
Pittsburgh, I'm assuming.
Pittsburgh,
just
yes.
making sure.
Yeah.
So I'm stealing your score from the Chargers Broncos. It's 2013 Pitt. I don't really see a way that Aiden O'Connell's gonna play. Like, it's one thing when you get that new infusion, and like the Panthers went to.
O'Connell's not bad. I'll give him that.
He's not bad, but the Panthers went to Andy Dalton. The Patriots are going to like a rookie that's kind of like. Aiden O'Connell's always been just like I mean, something could happen.
I'll say this.
But I don't know. I mean, no Devontae still too, so like it's going to be Jacoby Myers and...
I'll say this. The Raiders' defense is good enough.
Oh, yeah.
And
this is a battle between Max Crosby and TJ Watt. Which one can play better? Like, this is between those two.
The Steelers want to play prison ball. The Raiders almost have to, given their roster. And Fields didn't look great in the second half of the Cowboys. With the whole weather delay, I picked the Steelers anyway. Mm-hmm. As that weather delay was going on, it was like, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
I was, even more confident. I was like, there's no way the Cowboys are winning this game with bad weather, with weird circumstances at Pittsburgh. No way they're winning that game. And Fields, in large part, couldn't deliver. The Cowboys did their part, don't get me wrong, but I was disappointed in how Fields... really seems safe. Didn't run the ball much in the second half. So.
That's the one thing that he can do better than 95% of the league.
So if that keeps up, high chance that the Raiders could just win this game, especially being at home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers, but would not be surprised if they lost. Then it could be rest time.
Could be rest time. We got Atlanta heading to Carolina. Carolina is 6.5-point underdogs. What do you think about this one?
Weird game. Hated rivalry. Falcons continue to impress me. They really do. They gave us a Thursday night classic with the Bucks. Kirk Cousins going the fuck off, and we're not even a full year from his Achilles injury yet, I believe. So Panthers can't defend anybody. Falcons should be able to put up. They should be able to put up 31. We'll say actually. Give me 35 for the Falcons. 35-20.
35-20 Falcons. So the Falcons have a tough schedule coming up. So this could be one of those kind of trap games, but at the same time, no, because of the fact that it is a hated rivalry. I think I'm going to have the Falcons in this game 30-24. All right. Next, we've got Detroit heading to Dallas. Dallas is 3-point underdogs at home. What do you think about this one?
I just want to say I'm very impressed with the win that the Dallas Cowboys had.
Oh, yeah.
As I just said in the Steelers game, I completely expect them to lose. And not only did they win, they won playing the Steelers brand of football. Mm-hmm. They were physical. They were able to run the ball. They got stops on defense.
Without their two best defensive players, arguably. Two of the three at least.
Yeah, for sure. And they got DeRon Bland coming back this week, which is helpful. I do think the Lions win this game. It's in Dallas, I believe, right?
Yep.
I think we get a very fun game. Let me give you... let's talk about very fun. Let me give you a 40-point effort from... You know what, by the way? I should say... I'm going to go the other way. 40-20. I was going to give you a close game. We're going 40-20. Detroit's got a point to prove in this game after how they got cheated.
Oh yeah,
in the December game last year.
They've been cheated and lied to.
They're gonna have a point to prove, and they're starting to hit their midseason form here. So it could be 40-27. 40-27. That's a little. 20 is a little insane.
So I've got this game. I think it's going to be 31-21, and I have Detroit in it. What can't the Dallas Cowboys really do? Stop the run. What do the Lions do better than almost everybody? And it's run the football between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Jared Goff has been playing flawless football playing flawless football as of late. He is in a groove. That offense is getting in a groove. Defensively, we'll see how they hold up if Aiden Hutchinson can get home. CD could have a big game, but I don't think it's going to be enough. As you said, point to prove. 31-21, Detroit gets a little bit of their get back.
I'm more optimistic about the Cowboys than I've been at any point preseason or during this early part of the season. I will say that. Mm-hmm. I just think, and I mentioned it earlier, and we'll continue to talk about it with the next game, I just think this division's wide open. More wide open than I thought. I don't know, again, off the top of my head, what the Cowboys' schedule is, but I mean, they could, as long as they can even alternate wins and losses and still be okay in this division, I believe, especially if Philly's not going to run away with it. And we assume that the Commanders eventually come back to earth a little bit.
9-8 legitimately wins, probably. 9-8
could win the division.
10-7 probably wins it. 9-8 could, in my opinion. And if you're an 11-win team, I think you're comfortably winning the division in this one, how it seems to be playing out right now.
Sure.
But we got a do-or-die game for the Bengals. We got the Bengals heading to New York to face the Giants. Giants are 3.5-point underdogs. They are going to be without star Malik Neighbors, and they might be without Devin Singletary. It's kind of, that one's up in the air, but Tracy looked better than Singletary did, so it's not like they're going to be missing too much at running back. But what do you think?
Giants have surprised the hell out of me as well. Yeah. They have looked at the least competent, and if they continue to look competent and just stay in these games and steal wins here and there, and then they get Neighbors back, they can put them over the top. Like, Daniel Jones has looked pretty good when the offensive line protects him, and the offensive line has performed better than I thought. I think this is going to be a close game. I'm going to give edge Bengals because they certainly, like you said, it's kind of do or die for them still. So yeah, they lose this game, it's over for the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. They can pack it up.
So
they can pack it up.
27-24, entertaining Sunday night football game for all of us.
I think that I agree with you. I think if they had... The Giants have the possibility of winning this game. I think if they had Neighbors, it could be a real upset. Kind of like alert there where they really could pull this one off because... Just due to the fact that they do have a good defensive line, they kind of have an identity. They kind of know what they are. We're going to run the ball. Daniel Jones don't do too much crazy, and we're going to try to make the games lower scoring. But I do think with the way Joe Burrow's playing, this is the best football, especially to start a season he's ever played. I've got this game 30-24 in a fun one. I think Jamar Chase and Burrow have another massive game, similar to what they had last week. 5
touchdowns already for Chase. Neighbors got a concussion. He's at a Travis Scott concert. What are you doing? What are you doing at a Travis Scott concert?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
a light show, insanely loud. What are you doing at a Travis show?
And maybe stomped out in the mosh pit too. Like, what are we doing?
Right. that re-aggravates his injury.
Like, go to an Adele sit-down coffee house if we're gonna go to that somehow. Like, why are we going to a Travis Scott concert? That's not the place to be. Not that we should discipline him, but I'd probably sit to the side and be like, buddy, we need you to play football. We don't need you and Travi grilled up having fun. But last but not least, Aaron Rodgers, deja vu, Monday Night Football against the Bills. The Jets are 2.5-point underdogs. This one is at home, though, comparatively to the last year one where we saw him play a couple snaps. What do you think about this one?
So many thoughts. I thought the Salah firing was a joke. I thought they should have fired him January last year, at the end of the season last year. They brought him back. I thought that was silly, but I thought they'd still have the talent. Still, by the way, if they kept him on, I think they still would have had the talent to at least compete for the division.
Yeah.
Certainly a wild card. They fire him. They scapegoat him. Then they move Nathaniel Hackett down, which I think he was going to do anyway. I really think Saleh had a raw deal. I don't think he's a good coach at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a good coach at all. But I think he got a raw deal. They got Jeff Ulbrich coming in, who is a former linebacker, who was their DC, who's going to continue to be their DC, as well as their head coach. That's very interesting. I actually think, let me cut to the chase here. I think the Jets win, but I got more things to say. Bills should be thanking their lucky stars that the Jets did fire Saleh. That the Jets did have all this drama this past week, because Keaton, that was as bad of a loss I've ever seen in my life from the Buffalo Bills.
Coming off getting dog walked by the other team. They've
got the ball inside their own 3 with 30 seconds left. Fucking kneel the ball. Like I'm not even a Bills fan. I didn't have money on the Bills. I don't think I might have. I don't know, but
that's the second time they've done that.
I've never in my inside the 3 like that.
Remember when the Vikings, they had that overtime game and Josh fumbled like right at the goal line towards the end of
last year?
That was 2 years ago. That was when the Vikings went 13-3.
When they had that big comeback.
Yeah, that's the second time they've because that was the same thing. They gave the game, and then obviously. Well, I'm glad we did, because we had one of the greatest comebacks, and then we had a Justin Jefferson 4th down masterpiece.
I'll have to look at that play. So they fumbled inside the. How much time was left?
50 seconds in the game.
And all they had to do was kneel it out?
Yeah, so I'm going to bring this up real quick. You talk, and I'm going to see if this is exactly what I think it is.
I've just never seen that. Apparently, maybe I have seen that, if that's the case, but less than 30 seconds, or exactly 30 seconds in this case, they had... All they got to do is kneel. Even if you want to take one shot down the field, that's stupid enough. But okay, all right, then you can at least make them burn timeouts with their next 2 plays and then punt. Yeah. You kneel 3 times there and then punt, and the game's over. Or the game's at least going into OT, I should say. In a game where they're down, I think 17-14, and they crawl their way back, live with it. What do you gain to try to go 97 yards in 30 seconds? I'm not kidding. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. That's something I would expect from a Brandon Staley. And
that's something you do like if you're playing Madden.
So now the reason why I'm picking the Jets, similar reason why you're picking the Patriots tomorrow. All right, the Jets, when you have an interim head coach, I think more often than not only do they cover, but they outright win. I don't know what the percentage on that is, but the last few years, I think it's a high percentage that team wins. Yep. The Jets need one. It's a home game. Already you had the storylines of what last year was with the same exact game on Monday Night Football. Bills are the better team right now. I do believe that. The Jets still have a ton of talent. If they can simply get the ball to Breece Hall in favorable positions, get the ball to their other weapons, give Aaron Rodgers some time if the offensive line can perform, Jets should win this game. They still have the talent. The defense has still been playing pretty good. Did a great job last week in that London game, actually keeping them in the game. So if you can just give Rodgers time and he can dissect the defense, again, give Breece Hall as many favorable touches as you can, because he's had an awful season for someone who's projected in the McCaffrey category with fantasy as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Give me the Jets. Shoot. I don't know what the fuck. 24-15.
So
it's a dominant win.
I'm with you on both. Like, the Jets should win this. The Jets are in a position to where a win makes sense. But I also think that the Jets are still, their problems haven't been fixed. But at the same time, you're right, you do get the jolt from the interim head coach.
They just need some offensive line support, really.
But I also think you're going to see a very desperate Bills team coming off of back-to-back terrible losses. And no, Kyle, what it was they had the ball at the 1-yard line, and Josh Allen was going to sneak the ball so they could get out of the 1 yard with 49 seconds left, and he fumbled. And then they had to go down and get a field goal, and But
that one's slightly more reasonable.
No, that one's more reasonable, but it just, to think that there have been multiple times when you're within 3 yards that you just like your own goal line that you can't make it. Like that's just what it came to my mind.
I've just never in my life seen someone try to put together a 97-yard drive with a tie game.
Yeah, no, that one's
ball inside the 3.
24-20 Buffalo Bills. I'm not confident in it. I'm not gonna bet it. 24-20 Buffalo Bills. I think they're gonna play a desperate brand of football, and that's why I have them. But what Kyle said completely makes sense.
I don't like my score of 24-15. We're going to stick with it, but there's no way the Bills only score 15.
Do you want to go to 18?
No.
Okay.
No, because I've already got a score of 24-18. Crazy part about this, though, the Jets win on Monday night. Guess who's winning the division? The Jets. They would be in the division lead if they win Monday night, despite all this circus. So,
which is insane. But
then you got Tua coming back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this week? Anything? We haven't done this. We did week 1. We did like our best picks, best bets kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anything that's got your eye?
So I would go New England plus 6.5. I would think, I truly think that one is a little up in the air. That one is one that I like for a underdog. I love Pittsburgh in this, like, just something, I don't know. I don't trust Aiden O'Connell, but you know what? I could be very wrong on that one. So Pittsburgh, I do like that one as well. And then if you're going against the spread, another one would be Jacksonville plus 1.5. I just think that them in London changes the entire algorithm of how you kind of view the game.
I do like Jacksonville. I love Detroit.
Detroit was almost one I mentioned. I do like Detroit.
And then the Jets covering for the same reason, really. I mean, I believe the last 4 or 5 coaches for sure, like in the interim tag.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce last year, they got a win coming off Josh McDaniels. So, same reason there. I think the Jets get it done on Monday night. Those are my best ones.
Yep.
I would also say maybe Lamar over 70 yards rushing. I could see him having a big rushing day tomorrow, for sure. Especially against that Commanders defense.
Yeah.
Especially just that. Again, there hasn't ever really been a DMV rivalry, and I think there would be a little something there. Like Lamar just carries himself that way, where personal matchups like that, Jane Daniels coming in, the hot team, I could see Lamar, who, again, he looks like, Burrow's having an insane season right now. Burrow looks great, but Lamar really looks like he wants to go for that 3rd MVP.
No, yeah.
That play he had last week against the Bengals to Likely.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about it is that's why I kind of wish the Bengals. I hope the Bengals get a better record because I think this could be a really cool MVP race between in-division people. Because right now, the Mahomes doesn't deserve it at all. The team's 5-0, but he's in it. So really, your conversation right now would be Sam Darnold has to be at least around the conversation. Lamar, Burrow's distant. Just because he's playing so well, but obviously a 1-4 team right now, you can't have him in that actual conversation.
It's too early for the conversation.
It's definitely too early for the conversation. Wait until week 9, and then you can start to hypotheticalize what the conversation is going to be. But really, week 13 and on.
I will say, look out for Purdy though.
Oh yeah,
look out for Purdy.
Purdy absolutely could, and depending on what he does without Nico, CJ Stroud could be in that conversation. If he plays really well without Nico, CJ could be in that conversation. But, Warner Brothas Podcast. This is Keenan, Kyle, in person. This is great. We don't get these all that often, so we have to relish the moment that we do. But
get them next month, though.
Yeah. Yes, we do. TikTok, Instagram, Warner Brothas Podcast, YouTube, Warner Brothas Podcast. We appreciate all of you guys, and we'll see you guys very soon.